that they actually gifted it to the national church. So Gloucester Diocese now has nothing to do with the Parish Giving Scheme, apart from being one of the dioceses that are part of it. And it's now run by employees, but also they have a board of trustees. And you can go on their website and see who their trustees are. But they various people from around the country. Our own Rebecca Evans was a trustee. I think she's just recently stopped doing that. So she's been involved with it as well for a few years. It's also recommended by the National Church as the preferred way of giving. And hopefully as we go through this morning, you'll see some of those reasons why it is such a benefit to us as a national church. Let's look at some of those benefits then. What's the first one? So, maximises cash flow and minimises administration. Rolls off the tongue type. And why is that? Well, you're basically your regular givers are giving via the Parish Giving Scheme, so your cash flow, your money is coming in, your donations are coming in regularly, and there's minimal having to look after that from an administration point of view. Giving levels remain steady. So exactly during times we're going through now, those who are giving to their church via the Parish Giving Scheme, that is continuing. Unlike if most of your giving is done through the envelope system or through the plate. And so obviously we're not at church at the moment, so that's a problem. And also it is worth thinking that actually, although those who are regular givers through giving through the envelope, there might be some weeks that they're not there through illness, through holidays, and it may be that they don't actually give those weeks that they weren't there. So in a sense, giving through the Parish Giving Scheme keeps that giving steady and predictable. So then you can budget and plan more effectively for what you are doing in the church. You can look ahead, you can plan for the year, as most PCCs do, with what they want to spend that money on, and so it just helps the treasurer an awful lot and the PCC. The gift aid is processed monthly and accurately. That is a huge benefit. It is processed monthly, so every month you're getting that gift aid into your church account accurately. That's helpful. And if you're ever in the unfortunate position of being inspected by HMRC, not that I know of any down here who have been, it means that's protected because that's gone through a professional way of doing the gift aid, so that part of it is not counted. So if there are any mistakes, usually what happens, if I'm correct, then you do have to pay some of the gift aid back, and obviously that gift aid that's gone through the Parish Giving Scheme is ring fenced. That's not included, so you'll have less things to have to sort of cough up for in that sense. Right, now it's free to the parish. This is a huge benefit. It is free to the parish. There's no fees to the parish. There's no fees from the money being taken out of that person's account. There are no transaction fees or anything like that. The cost of this is spread around those 29 dioceses, and so in our diocese we pay it out of a central pot. So nothing is asked from the parish to pay towards the Parish Giving Scheme. So whether you join or not, there's no reason why you shouldn't, and it's not costing you anything, if that makes sense. And this is worth thinking about as well. Some people are a bit worried about direct debit, but it's actually the only payment method with a money back guarantee behind it. So whereas money can go missing, even standing orders, if you put the wrong digit in, it ends up being in somebody else's account, and sometimes it can be hard to get that money back. So it's worth bearing that in mind. It's guaranteed. Now, it has one unique benefit, and I wonder if you can think what that benefit is. Well, it is that there's an opportunity for that giving to rise annually in line with inflation. And why is that important? Well, I'm going to give you an example of why that's important. Say Christine, back in 2008, gave her church £60 a month. Sorry, I can hear come up, my internet connection is unstable on my back. Is that okay? £60 a month to her church. Gift aids claimed on that, £76.80. There we go. Now, if Christine decided that she was going to increase her giving annually in line with the retail price index, then by 2018, her £60 will have increased. Adding that gift aid on, the church would be receiving £115, £34 a month, which is an extra £462.48 a year. So as you can see, if you had even 10 people in your congregation who all were increasing their giving annually, then that'd be an extra £4,000 a year that the church be received compared to what they had back in 2008. And I don't know about you, but we do tend to forget or not even think about looking at our giving on an annual basis. And as church, we're not very good at asking people to think about that as well. So the Parish Giving Scheme is a great way of introducing that idea and talking about it and encouraging people to increase their giving this way. It's optional, by the way. There's a, and I'll show you later how that works, but you don't have to give that way, but it is an option. And at the moment, 55% of people do tick that box to say they would like their giving to increase. I had a letter from one parishioner saying how delighted she was to be able to do that because it saves her having to actually think about it. Or, well, actually, it also makes her think about it and even review, but also she's grateful that actually that's already been put in place to do that. Now, who is the Parish Giving Scheme for? We've been doing quite a few webinars about online giving and contactless giving, all these kind of things. So let's just make certain the Parish Giving Scheme, it's for our regular givers. It's for our weekly envelope givers. It could even be for new members of the congregation. It has to be said, once Parish Giving Scheme is up and running in your church, when new people join, it's easy to say, oh, this is how most people give in our church. Would you be happy, to give in this way? Because most people will ask, how can I give to the church? So it's aimed at that thing. Unlike, say, online giving, which could be a one-off, contactless, it could be a one-off type giving. This is really for those people who are committed to that regular giving. Oh, don't know what happened to my transition there, which includes the standing order givers as well. They are usually very happy to change to Parish Giving Scheme because they're already used to giving in that monthly way. Other people, it can be appropriate for friends of your church, people in the community who don't come to church regularly but are keen to support the church. And perhaps even think about second homeowners. Quite a few of our parishes have people come down on holiday when they can and who attend church might be at church for quite a few weeks regularly, and they might be happy to give to the church in this way. So how does it work? So back to Christine. Christine is now giving £50 a month to her church, and on the first of the month that leaves Christine's account and goes direct to the Parish Giving Scheme account. They then sort out claiming the gift aid from that £50 and then send Christine's £50 directly to her church, which arrives on the 10th of the month. They then once the HMRC have sent the gift aid back to PGS, they then send on Christine's £12.50 gift aid to her church as soon as that's arrived. And I know for sure that as soon as HMRC pay that to PGS, it is with your church within 2 days. Right, now for your givers, so Christine, when she joined the Parish Giving Scheme, this is the type of form that she would have filled in. I'm just going to pick it up here. This is what it looks like. So you open it, frequently asked questions, and the idea is that then people can keep that side and they fill in this side. Okay. I'm going to show you some a bit more up close. So this box here, take note. This is the box that people that Christine can pick, which she did, say that she'd like to support her parish in future with an annual inflationary increase. What would happen? The fact that 30 days prior to that gift donation date, and that's worth saying as well. It's not a first of the year type thing. It'll be a year after somebody starts giving, and they'll be notified to say, are they still happy to increase? And if not, that's fine. They can just let them know, not a problem. There's another interesting box that people can tick as well. This is the one that says, I wish to remain anonymous to my parish's planned giving representative. And this has been an interesting box, and we've had feedback from some parishes to say it's been very useful and that they've seen an increase in giving because of this box. Because, you know, we're very private, aren't we, about our financial situation and perhaps what we can give and what we want to give. Perhaps we can't give much and we don't want people to know that, or perhaps we can give a lot and we don't want people to know that. I made the mistake once when I worked in Uganda. I hadn't been there very long, and I asked somebody how many cows they had, and the shock on their face when I asked that question was I didn't realize that in Uganda that asking someone how many cows they have is the same as asking someone how much money they've got in their bank account. So yeah, I learned that lesson quite quickly. Don't ask people how many cows they have. Right, so that form gets sent back to Gloucester, or possibly sometimes in your church, your plan giving officer or your treasurer might offer to take those forms in and send them off for you. But either way, they go off to Gloucester. Then you, Christine, will have received a letter from the Parish Giving Scheme welcoming them. Now, this goes up a bit closer on the next page. That's right. All the time, Parish Giving Scheme will be writing to people on behalf of your PCC. So to bear that in mind, it's very much about your church, it's your parish, and they're working on behalf of you. So the letter will say, I'm writing to thank you on behalf of the PCC of signing up to the Parish Giving Scheme. It reminds people what they've said they're giving. If they've giving by gift aid, it will say that. And if they have ticked that box to say they want to increase their giving in line with inflation, it tells them when their first collection will be, gives them what their direct debit reference number is, which appears on the bank statement, and the phone number. So it really helps people to have that reminder of what they've signed up for. Now, if they have ticked that box to say that they wish to increase their giving annually, they will receive an annual letter. They won't if they haven't, okay? So, which basically says the same thing. I'm writing to thank you on behalf of St. Somewhere with a generous gift. And it tells them how much their gift might increase. Back in 2015, it was only 1.1%. So it shows you how much that is. It's not going up very much at the moment, as far as I noticed, because I give with that, and it's very little. Okay, again, telling people how they can stop that or reduce it or increase it. So it's very flexible. Now, if you are the statement receiver for Parish Giving Scheme, so which is sometimes the treasurer or the plan giving officer or someone else who's just looking after the whole Parish Giving Scheme for your church, this is an example of the online statement that you'll get. Basically, they send you a code for you to sign in to the website to your statements. Right, and just to show you a bit here, the next page will go into a bit more detail, but it shows you the current month, financial year to date, and the calendar year to date, which is helpful for treasurers. Okay, just to go in a little bit more detail. So here we go. On the left, you'll have the name of the person giving. Do you recognise these names? Okay, then the description, again, that's what will be on the donor's statement. Then the donation received, so sent on the 1st of the month, followed by the gift aid amount, and then the total of those put together. Next one to point out, the total amount at the bottom. Remember back where we had the quote and from our treasurer, and it said it was great getting one amount in the statement. So this is the total of the number of people who have given through Parish Giving Scheme. So it's helpful for treasurers really when they're looking at statements to have that one figure coming in from Parish Giving Scheme. The other amount, the gift aid total, which arrives a few days later. Okay. Yeah, you might have your anonymous person in there, and worth remembering as well that for those people, if you are sending thank you letters to those who are giving regularly, you can then send a letter to your anonymous person to Gloucester, and they will send it on for you. Just send a stamped addressed envelope if you can. Okay, I think that's all of them. Yeah. Oh, hang on, I'm just going to go back actually. One thing there. Those of you who are Vicar of Digley fans will be noticing Miss K, you know. You know who that is? Well, interesting to see that there's no gift aid, a very generous donation of £1,000, but no gift aid. I imagine that's not because she's not a taxpayer, but I imagine because she's based in Australia. So again, not everybody can claim the gift aid. And again, Parish Giving Scheme, it's not just for those who are taxpayers, it's also for those who are not. As you can see, there's a few there with no gift aid collection.
At that
there's
point,
also on there
the
frequency. So yes.
Yeah, somebody's asking about gift aid small donations. Can they be claimed through PGS?
No, they can't, fortunately. Sorry, simple answer.
Yeah.
Okay, back to this. So it comes up M for monthly, because there are 3 different options of giving: monthly, quarterly, and annually. So that will show on your statement how often those donations are coming in. And then the one on the right, this is for whether people have ticked the box to say they'd like their giving to rise in line with inflation. Y for yes, N for no. And then on the left, there's just that small box, which it also shows you those who've joined recently and those who have left recently. And that can be quite a useful thing to know for those who either left the scheme, that for you to follow up with perhaps a pastoral, it might be a pastoral matter, and it's just worth being aware of those type of things. So here we go. So that's gone through how individuals can join. How do you join as a parish? So for new parishes to join, there is a form which looks like this, which I've got there on the side. Okay, one side there to join. And you request that from Christine or me. Okay, so from Christine or me. Can you hear me okay? It's just saying it's unstable. All right, am I back? Okay, so email us for a joining form. Now, before we went into lockdown, the process was that you needed to have a PCC resolution, which was as simple as we agreed to join the Parish Giving Scheme. And then you needed 3 signatures. So, and that was from the overall project leader in your parish, the treasurer, the incumbent, and a church warden. So those 3 people had to sign the form. During lockdown, one person can now just complete the form and email it back to us, and then have ask 2 other people. So for example, if it's the treasurer filling the form, ask your incumbent and your church warden to send us an email to say they agree that we're joining the Parish Giving Scheme. Then Christine and I, we scan that in, and we put on there the code, the parish code that you need. Now this parish code is crucial because that links your church to your bank account. So that gets sent off to Gloucester for processing. In the meantime, we then sort out the donor forms and your labels to send to you. Okay, is that clear? Any questions at that point?
So I've been answering 1 or 2 questions by text. Somebody was saying they don't receive the letter that you were saying about the inflationary increase. They give with an inflationary increase but never receive the letter. So I'm not sure.
Oh.
Yes, is still doing that, or I'm not sure.
Yes, you should receive that. It might be that it's emailed to you now. They are trying to save money, obviously, through postage. So that might be, it may have gone by email, or check out your junk folder. Otherwise, I'd give them a ring in case there's something wrong with address or email.
Yeah.
Okay.
There aren't any other questions at the moment, unless anyone wants to quickly pop one in there.
No? Okay.
We've just received a question.
Yeah.
A couple of questions actually. How long before we receive confirmation that we have joined the scheme? It's over 2 weeks now. Actually, Celia, I can answer that question because I contacted PGS just a couple of days ago about your church and another church, because I was concerned as well. And they said that just at the moment, they're absolutely inundated with applications. So they are being processed, but it's taking longer than usual. Usually it does take just a few days, but just at the moment, they've got a backlog of work. But I did flag up your church just the other day, and they said it will be processed soon. So don't worry about that one. David, you mentioned pastoral follow-up. How much information should parish clergy have? Can you answer that?
Well, yes, generally not the financial aspect of that. Clergy don't usually are told how much somebody's giving. It's just more, and it's okay for the clergy to know that somebody's on the Parish Giving Scheme. Maybe just some kind of subtle questions as to, I noticed Christine's left the parish giving scheme. Is everything all right? You know, but for some churches, I suppose bigger churches, it might be that somebody's died and nobody realises that, or or somebody's given from outside. There can be other sort of smaller reasons, really. Do you agree, Christine?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
It's not a major one, but it's just useful to be able to check on if everything's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll move on then.
Roger says all my PGS mail goes into my junk mail, so check there. As Liz said, your PGS mail could be in your junk. David says, why is it okay for clergy to know anything at all about individual giving?
Well, we have got some clergy who are treasurers, so that's what I meant, in the sense that some might know, but yeah, but generally not. No, they don't.
Yeah, generally, it's the treasurer who knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, as we said before, with the PGS, there is the option to be anonymous anyway, if an individual wants to be anonymous as well.
Yeah.
Sharon asks, where do we get the code from? So the code, we have the code here. When you fill in your registration form, you don't need to write the code in initially. You send it to us, we'll find out your code, we'll fill that in. When PGS respond to you to say that you've been registered, they will give you the code at that point. We'll also print out labels for forms that have the code on, so that your givers don't individually have to know it. They just stick the label on that has the code, so it doesn't get too confusing for them.
Okay, right. Okay, I'll move forward because there might be some answers as well to other things. Yeah. Right, so also at the moment, just to say that new donors can use the form, or they can actually join by phone, which was introduced at early days of lockdown. And for those that are going to join by phone, it's worth letting them know that these are the things they'll need: their personal bank account details, name of the parish, PGS code for your parish, and then asked to confirm if they're eligible for gift aid, so are they a taxpayer, and whether they wish to increase their gift annually. So those are the main questions they'll be asked. Okay. Now, if there are changes to giving, so again, one of the benefits of Parish Giving Scheme, it's so easy. It's not like the ringing your bank where you've got to have your code, your passwords and numbers and all sorts of things to remember. You can phone Parish Giving Scheme, you can email them, or you can even post to them a request, and they do it straight away. So whether that's increasing, whether it's decreasing, whether it's stopping for a few months, whether it's giving one extra amount. We've had some people giving more during this time and giving a one-off gift, and it can be small or as big as you like. So that's why it's so flexible and efficient. Now, not so long ago, they launched the wider community giving forms, which is useful for those people in your community who don't attend church regularly and but still value you being there. And these are available now as well. We originally, what you do need to join Parish Giving Scheme first to then be able to access these forms, but it's a little bit more flexible at the moment. So once you've joined, if you'd like to have some of these as well, there's just a short form to fill in for these, and we can send you some of these as well. Now, think about as well, we should be thinking about when we do launch the Parish Giving Scheme in our parishes. And the first one is to think about it within a stewardship approach. you know, when I've seen churches launch it, just putting a notice in the notice sheet and leaving forms at the back is not very effective. A lot of people, including me, if you tell me something, or if I read something in the leaflet, even if I think, oh, that's a good idea, I must do that, chances are I don't get around to doing it. If someone comes and sees me or talks to me, then there's a much better chance that I will do it. Somebody puts it into my hands. But doing it within that stewardship program is much more effective, and having a time when you have some teaching and preaching on generosity, on aspects of God, of generosity and that kind of thing, it really helps. Time as well can help, and we talked about that a few weeks ago about sharing what is, because people will want to need to have a good reason for giving, and just making sure that's communicating the financial need and the practical benefits of giving for them as much as for you, and leading by example, testimony approach. If I put there, what I mean by that is that some churches, their PCC joined first before they introduced it to the rest of the church, and that works well, because then they can say, well, you know, I've signed up, I've done it, it works very smoothly, everything's happening, I'm really happy with it. We even had at Higher Town Church not so long ago, when we were talking about Parish Giving Scheme, we asked people to share their experience, in a sense, of using Parish Giving Scheme. And we had one mum who's got 2 children, and she said she loves Parish Giving Scheme because she doesn't have to think about finding some money when she's rushing out the door 5 minutes before the service, and also that she was able to really prayerfully think before her giving what God wants her to give. And if you are just rushing out the door, often it can be, oh, actually, oh dear, I should have got some more money out of the cash point, or I haven't got any at the moment, and that kind of thing. It's using the Parish Giving Scheme to give is a way to really reflect before God about our giving. And as I say, that one-to-one, in Helston, when they launched Parish Giving Scheme, they had Michael, who's the plan giving officer there. He talked about it in the service, and then he said, I'll be in the hall where they have coffee afterwards, and he had a big kind of sign up, Parish Giving Scheme, and he said, if anybody has any questions, please come and talk to me. So it's being available, really. As I say, putting the forms at the back of the church don't really work very well. And I just wanted to share this as well, because I do like this quote from Renewal. When we seek to raise funds, we are not saying, please could you help us out because lately it's been hard. Rather, we're declaring, we have a vision that is amazing and exciting. We're inviting you to invest yourself through the resources God has given you, your energy, your prayers, and your money in this work to which God has called us. And I think it's worth having that always as your focus when you're thinking about talking about the Parish Giving Scheme and that whole tricky issue of giving. Here's some useful resources. Parish Giving Scheme themselves have recently updated their website, and there's lots of more good information in there, down to security questions and things like that. So that's a useful one. And then we've got some resources as well on our own Truro Diocese website. That's the link there, or it's just quick enough or easy enough to click on the PGS logo at the bottom. And to just say help is on hand. During this time of lockdown, or even moving forward, really, Christine and I are available to help you with your looking at stewardship as a whole. We've got lots of ideas as well for how you could develop your Parish Giving Scheme. And just to say, all materials that we have, so all the forms that you need, and the gift forms, these things here. And what I didn't mention were the little tokens. If your church generally up to now has been giving on the plate, by the plate or the bag, you know, people don't like to pass the plate around without putting anything in there. So these little cards are there people to put into the plate. And I like them especially because on the back it says, all things come from you, O Lord, and of your own do we give you. That's something we don't say that often these days in services, do we? I grew up with that every Sunday, and it's a good thing to remind us all about. Okay, now Christine's going to finish off. Should we finish off now with the little video? There's a little video that Parish Giving Scheme produced, which we want to finish with before we go to questions, actually. Should we do that, or should we have questions first?
Yeah, we could show it and people could be putting up their questions whilst watching it as well. If I can share, let me just give it a go. Oh, do you want to stop sharing?
Oh, I'll stop sharing. Right, hang on, is that there? Stop share. There we go.
And I'll see if I can share this little video. Oh, where's it gone now? There we go.
Yep.
Should be coming up any moment. Right.
And this is a useful video as well that you can show.
Giving Scheme, or PGS for short, is a simple and...
Go on.
No, that's fine, that's right, carry on.
Okay, here it is.
The Parish Giving Scheme.
Oh, now it's stopped.
Or PGS for short, is a simple and easy way for you to support your local church. Using a professional donation management system, PGS offers a secure way for your church to receive gifts and gift aid on a regular basis. So how does it work? Honouring the first fruits principle, gifts are sent to the PGS on the 1st of the month via direct debit. The gift is then forwarded to your church by the 10th of the month, and any eligible gift aid is sent separately once received from HMRC. You can make changes to your giving whenever you want, simply by contacting the PGS support team or logging into your online account. You can also choose to have your gift automatically increase each year in line with inflation. PGS helps reduce the burden on our church volunteers, provides a professional service to its givers, and most importantly, helps parishes fund their mission and ministry. PGS, the better way to encourage giving in your church.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Can I also, at this point, just put up a little poll? This is just to give us a picture of who is here. I'm just going to put up a little poll just to ask you which of these things apply to you. If it's more than one, click more than one, but just to give us an idea of who's here. I'll just give you a few seconds to do that. Okay, we've nearly all voted there. If you don't want to vote, that's absolutely fine as well. Okay, that's brilliant, I think. I'll just pop that up so you can see as well. So that's who we've got here. We've got a lot of treasurers and plan giving officers, as we would expect. Very sorry that I put church wardem there. I know you're church wardens with an N. But yeah, so that's who we've got here. That just helps us, gives us a little bit of a picture.
Right.
Okay, one question that came in, there's no new questions, oh, it might be in the chat. Anyway, one question that came in earlier, which I said I promised I would answer live so everyone could hear the answer. So Brian says that I would assume parishes do not sign everybody up to PGS so that they can still make claims on the GAD scheme. So that one, yeah, that's a really good question, a really good point, that if you weren't claiming any gift aid yourselves, you would lose your allowance for your gift aid small donations. So not everybody would sign up to PGS, but in reality, probably not everyone's going to sign up to PGS anyway. There's probably still going to be some people who you're processing their gifts, but equally, even if everyone did sign up to PGS, there might be other ways that you're processing gift aid. You might have an annual gift day, you might have events, and you're processing the gift aid for those. So therefore you would get your GADS allowance on that. But yeah, just to be clear that the gift aid that's processed through PGS is not processed by the church, it's processed by Gloucester, so it doesn't count for your gift aid small donations allowance. But we haven't found anywhere that it's become a problem, to be honest, because there's always some way that you are processing some other gift aid. So yeah,
Christmas and Easter, if you have people coming into church, isn't it? And having those gift aid envelopes available at the back as well, or on your pews. These days people are very happy to give by gift aid, so it's not that much you need, is it, to reach that amount? So
somebody says, what is GADS? So the gift aid small donation scheme, so that's where you claim gift aid on small donations that are under £30. So people don't have to fill in a gift aid form for you you can claim through gift aid small donation scheme. So cash that comes in the plate, for example, you can claim on gift aid small donations under £30. You can claim without having to have a gift aid declaration.
Actually, that's a good question. Perhaps we've got used to it. Perhaps we should do a webinar on on that one next. Yeah, because there's quite a lot around that subject that we could talk about, actually. Good idea.
David says, good to hear about the theology of giving, as this is so important. We don't give just because the church needs money, which it does, but rather in the response to the generosity of God. So not a question, but I thought I'd read it because it was a wonderful comment. Absolutely.
Amen to that.
Celia says, can I use the forms you sent me to give to non-regular churchgoers? Yes, of course you can use the ordinary forms to give to non-regular churchgoers if you want to. The wider community forms are just designed to appeal to people who aren't necessarily churchgoers, with pictures sort of showing what the church can do for the community. But inside it's exactly the same. So the form that they fill in is exactly the same. So you can use the regular forms if you want to, but if you'd like to sign up to get some of the other forms as well, I can send you those anytime. So yeah. How much gift aid do you have to claim to qualify to claim GADS?
Yes, I always think I should remember. Yes, it's something like 100 for every £1,000 of gift aid small donation scheme. You need to be claiming from £100 donation for gift aid.
Yeah. So it's 10%. So if you're claiming on £100 donations, you can get up to 1,000 gift aid small donations. Yeah. That's right. Why does my name not come up in my questions, Gret? It does, Gret. Your name comes up to us. We can see your name there. Yeah, we can see that. Are there any other questions? Is there a service level agreement that you can share with us or with parishes? Not sure.
Not sure. I don't think you need one.
No, not sure on that one.
No, don't understand that question, I'm afraid. You don't need one anyway, I think is the answer.
Yeah.
If it's more specifics about how Parish Giving Scheme uses and the different the company that they use to process it, I'm think there's some information on their website about that. And also, you know, yeah. So, for example, they use the same system that some of the major charities use. I know if it's a security thing as well, they're regularly from outside. Assessors look at that as well. So, yeah, but no, not sure. Did you come back about that?
No, we haven't got any more about that. That's fine, I think.
Okay.
Brian says the forms we have still have the old address. Will they be redirected if we use them? Yes, they will. We're getting through them rapidly, actually. PGS obviously want to use up all the old forms so as not to waste all the paper, but they will be redirected. We're getting through them rapidly, so soon there will be forms with the new address on them, which will be brilliant. But yeah, it's not a problem. Just keep using those until they run out. Can an incumbent be a treasurer? I think an incumbent can be a treasurer, can't they?
I think so. I think in some of the churches, yeah, we've definitely had a vicar being a treasurer. So
yeah,
because there was no one else doing it. So
yeah. I think we've answered all the questions.
Because the reason why, in a sense, the reason why a vicar isn't a treasurer is because it's a job that they shouldn't be having to spend a lot of time doing. But also, most generally, we think that our vicar is their cure of souls, and that shouldn't be influenced by how people are financially. Maybe that's why. Yeah. But there's nothing set in law as far as I know.
No. I think that's all the questions. But if we haven't answered your question, or you have another question later, do drop us an email or give us a call, and we'd be happy to help you. Also, I should just say all our videos are being recorded. All our webinars are being recorded. So the previous 3 webinars, if you've missed them, they're all on our website. In the follow-up email, I will send you a link to those. This one will be on there as well. Unfortunately, forgive me, I did start recording a little bit late, but you've only missed the very first slide, which is a shame because it was a lovely quote. But in the recording, it will start just after that. So you'll get all the important information anyway. So all the webinars will be there. So feel free to catch up with them in your own time or pass them on to other people to have a look at as well. And yeah, I will be sending out a follow-up email tomorrow morning. So you'll receive Liz's PowerPoint presentation, and do sign up for other webinars as well. Next week we have a stewardship surgery, which just means come along and ask questions. So we won't be preparing anything specific for that, but please come along and ask questions. And if you'd like to send your questions in advance by email, we'll prepare answers to those questions as well for the webinar. So that would be really helpful, actually. If some questions came in beforehand, then we can be prepared for those. But do come along to that. And then the week after that, we've got a few more tips about stewardship in general. So please sign up for those as well. I hope that's been helpful.
Because next week, Christine, will we do it on Zoom so we can see people? That would be nice. We could just have a Zoom
already though, and people have registered, so
that's a shame.
Yeah, that would be difficult.
Nice to see all their lovely faces.
Yeah, I think it might be tricky because it's all set up and people have already registered for it, and so we'd have to. Anyway, we can think about it, but.
Okay, that's good. Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no more questions, I think. Just thank you for that. Brilliant. Well, thank you all for coming. It's brilliant that you could be here, and please get in touch if you've got any more questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Bless you.
Bye, everyone.